let me unmute my mic. It helps. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Beyond the Real, presented by Devil May Care Productions. And today I'm joined by Isaac Wells and Colin Bass, two amazing actors. I've spoke to Colin over the phone a few times. I've followed his work. Isaac and I have been to conventions together. We've talked a lot. So today we're going to talk about acting, fan films, voice acting, everything involved in the art of being in front of the camera. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us. We're happy to be here.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Ditto.
So let's go over a little bit of the work. Introduce yourselves. We got, I'll just move around the way I see them. So I've got Isaac's directly to my right here. Isaac's done some major games, some lots of voice acting, runs Pirate Light Studios. Tell us a little bit about what you've got going on, Isaac, and what you've been doing.
We haven't been doing a lot recently because of COVID, but we do have plans to do more in the future. We have a couple of fan films we want to do and a couple of original Amazon Prime films. And we just kind of want to get right back on the saddle as soon as it's safe and everything to do that and get a bunch of projects going. We got, I think, like half a dozen planned that we want to do.
Excellent. Half a dozen's a good number to start with. And then we've got Colin. Colin, the first time I met Colin was when I was working for the CW. I was handed the phone and told, this man likes the Flash, talk to him. I'm like, okay, I'm the Green Arrow. And from there, I was following your Reverse Flash origins, and you've done a lot of stuff since then. Tell us what you've got going on, Colin.
Currently, right now, I'm kind of in the same boat as Isaac. We're all making up for lost time, to be perfectly honest. We're doing some Power Rangers series. We have this big fight scene this weekend for a new series called Character Select, where you basically pit two characters and then they fight, one of those beatdown situations. We are also pitching a series to some streaming services called Solaris. It's original content. And then just some little fan films like that and little commercial promos for different companies that, keep the lights on, so to speak. So that's what we're focusing on right now.
Excellent. Now, speaking of new streaming services, I recently became aware of one that's opening next month called SETV. So it might be worth, if you guys have got some stuff, seeing what they've got going on as far as distribution is concerned. But yeah, sounds just exactly it sounds. SETV. The guy that runs it, his name is Simon. He's Italian. So let's get into how you got started. This time I'm going to go reverse order. For anyone that follows the show, I started in theater. Colin, now I actually saw your face before I ever heard your name, thanks to Rudy's costumes.
Yeah, that's my day job, is doing Star Wars product development, and then I model for the costumes as well. But who knows when I'm going back to that. But I was a pretty creative kid, and I did some theater camps and some school plays and stuff. But then I went down the jock path, and I dropped all my acting and writing and the things I really love, and was trying to be a quarterback. And then in college, I started working for a comic book company, and they wanted some digital media, some superhero web series. So we made an episode, and I got hooked, and I never stopped.
Well, I'm glad we fixed you out of the jock thing and got you back into the real world.
I feel better too.
And Isaac, I know you started with voice acting, and now you do a lot of film work, and it's all amazing stuff. For anyone that's not aware of who Isaac is, go look him up. Go look up Colin. Tell us how you actually got started, Isaac.
Well, I was actually born in Los Angeles, but I never grew up there. I literally left right after. I was raised in Canada, and they because I'm Canadian American, and there's a lot of film work that goes on there, because a lot of it's a very supportive community for creating and arts and stuff like that. And actually, the first time I ever got asked, I was just hanging out with a friend, and he was making some little independent film, and he was like, hey, we need an extra vampire in this film. You want to put on some teeth and put on this long coat and just be in the background? And I was like, sure. But, I was there, and this was years ago. And I realized, I was like, man, this is really cool. I really like how this is. So I got interested in that. And Then I just started doing my own skits and stuff like on YouTube with my friends, and we realized, or at least I realized, I was like, I kind of want to do something more serious than this, because I love this process, but I don't want to just do like cheap, fast, like YouTube like parody skits. So I want to do something more, and I just developed from there. And I lived in Florida at the time because of family, and so we had to find a group of people, because it wasn't big filming wise here in Florida when I started. Still isn't. But luckily we're close to Georgia and stuff like that. So yeah, I got started like that. And the way I got voice acting was I did so many of the different parodies of video game characters in our skits on YouTube that an independent game developer asked me one day, like, hey, I'm doing this game on like Newgrounds, this animation site called Newgrounds. Do you want to do the voice of it? And I was like, sure. And then, more and more people asked me, and then it was kind of like a trickle down effect where I was like, hey, these people actually like the way I'm doing this, so let me do this more professionally.
Yep, and that's where you built the sound studio that you're currently recording in.
Yes, I did the whole closet laundry room thing with the coats and thing for years, and it worked pretty good. But then I was like, I want to build this like an actual studio in my house, so I wouldn't have to leave to actual like professional studios. I could literally just go to my studio and my house, record, and then go back inside. So I was really happy about that. And it took me about 2 weeks to build this studio. It's like a 5x5, I think, all professionally insulated and everything like that. So I was really happy about that.
Excellent. Now, have either of you actually gone through like professional acting training, got agents, things like that? The kind of stuff that a lot of new actors, they start looking for agents, and the agents all send them to acting classes because someone at one point walked past a scene that Tom Cruise might have been in.
I had one Netflix gig, and they were shoving agents at me and all these different opportunities and stuff. And I looked into it, but we were just keeping pretty busy with our side projects. And then with our passion project, we get enough stats to, get gigs through different companies. So yeah. I was keeping pretty busy, but I always promised myself that if things really slowed down, other than COVID, that I would go the agent route. And it just hasn't happened yet, but I'm not against it by any means. But no, I haven't had an agent.
Okay. And Isaac,
yeah, I did look into it. Like, the thing about it is when I first started acting, I was like, oh my god, the agent and stuff like that. And truth be told, it kind of freaked me out. Everything, all you had to do, and all this check marks and all that stuff. And I was just really like, I'll do this one day. I'm kind of backpacking here off calling this. It probably happened the same way, but I was like, we're doing our own stories, and we want. I love acting, and I love being in front of the camera, but I also love the process of actually making the film itself to tell the story. Mm-hmm. So, in a small production company, you do many different jobs. You have many different hats. And I actually enjoyed doing all that. Like, I enjoyed, like being on, the set and be like, okay, we're going to, block here, and I want to set up this. And, so I was more interested in actually making the vision that I kind of wanted than I was to actually sign up and go the 100% acting course way.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I brought that up is, because obviously this is all about acting, the various different things in the acting community. When I was running a live production theater, I was doing acting classes. And one of the classes we were teaching was improv for students with Asperger's, teaching them how to use improv acting skills in everyday life environments. And we were a government-backed project at that point, which was nice for us. But I did a stage show, and an agent came up, handed me a card, and I called the number, and they said, we want you to go to these acting classes, and we'll start finding you gigs. And I'm looking at the acting classes and go, you do realize I teach all of those classes that you want me to go to? And they're like, yeah, but we want someone else to teach you how to do it. It says, let me put down your card and never call you again.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
one of the pieces of advice I like to give new actors is agents are not a bad thing. just make sure they have your interests in mind. If you are experienced, if you have a name and they say, I want you to go to this acting class, and you're already doing it, find someone else. People that don't listen to what you can do. It's like someone watching one episode of Shattered Past, calling you up, Colin, and going, we love you, we'd like you to play a speedster. Can you go and do some acting classes? And then you bring up the Reverse Flash Origin and go, yeah, that's nice. Can you go do this acting class? But
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, but we've all done fan films. Isaac brought up fan films. You've got the Power Rangers Shattered Past. You've got the Reverse Flash Origins. You've got the Black Condor.
Arrow Unlimited, yeah, where I play Black
Arrow
Condor. There's a lot to keep track of. No worries, I don't play.
Yeah, but it's one of the things that I always get asked, and I wonder if you guys have the same question, is how do you do those copyrighted features and not get sued?
That's a really good question. We don't make any money off of it. We don't monetize our stuff. We don't put it on streaming networks like Amazon or Hulu. It's basically just YouTube or Vimeo or something like that. And you basically have to say, hey, we promise we won't make money off of this. But I feel like if it's too good, they'll be like, still,
Yeah,
that happened a few times. Like we wanted to do, we were actually in the process of doing a Star Trek fan series, and CBS did the whole cease and desist order after a film called Return to Axanar, and it was really well done, and they just canceled everybody. Like they were like, you can't do anything.
Well, CBS are almost as bad as Disney when it comes to that kind of stuff, and we've just been joined by Lucky Mangione. How you doing,
Hey
Lucky?
guys,
Hey, Lucky.
I'm doing well. How are you? Hi guys, how are y'all?
Good. So,
Can y'all see me
guys,
okay?
this is our. Yes, we can. This is our fourth guest. This is Luck. We've worked on a few films in Charlotte together. Usually there's this improv scene involved with me and him that just goes off the wall. But we were just talking about making fan films and how you avoid getting sued, basically.
Well, what one way you can do it, which is the way I've done it before, is if you make a fan film and you make it where it's a parody of some sorts, then you can get away. There's a parody act, a law that you can, make fun of the stuff. So in other words, if I'm playing Spider-Man and Spider-Man is fighting someone from like Dracula or some other character that we make up and make it a comical kind of scene, then it falls into the parody act and you can get away with it making it that way as well. Another way you can do it is some people actually call the companies, like for example, Star Wars. There's a lot of Star Wars fan films out there, and they actually message Disney and ask if they can do it. And a lot of times they're okay with it as long as you're not making money from it. So as long as you're not making money, you let that, or you do like a parody of some sort, then you can make those fan films without being sued of any kind. But you gotta, be careful how you do it.
Yeah.
I do know that also in the deal from Star Wars, when Disney bought Star Wars, Lucas or something, they said that some of the lifeblood of our actual IP is fan films, so you can't stop making them. Obviously, like if you make money off of it, that's bad. But if they want to do fan films, let them do fan films, because that's a lifeblood of a lot of series and a lot of different IPs. So I'm pretty glad about that. I heard that through the grapevine, so if that's true, awesome.
Now I know.
Colin, and I've heard the same thing.
Some of your fan films, especially the Power. You've actually had some of the Power Ranger actors involved in your stuff, right?
Yeah, we've had 4 real Rangers in our series, and it was my childhood dream come true. It was super cool.
That's cool.
And I know the Reverse Flash stuff. You've actually had the actors who played Professor Zoom of the Reverse Flash. like your stuff and even share it a time or two?
Yeah, we've had some good conversations. Matt Letcher's just been so amazing to us and just helpful and sharing and just commenting and rooting me on. And yeah, it's been really cool when like we make it because we're all fans, right? I mean, we're actors, we love making movies, but we're also fans of the original IP. So the fact that like the dude that you're kind of playing reps your stuff was just so cool. I was super excited.
Yeah, and I loved seeing that. Isaac, have you had those kind of experiences where like you've met your idols or they've talked to you and shared your stuff or stuff you've been doing?
I met certain people that when I was voice acting, I got to be like, holy crap, I grew up listening to you. Like I did a project with a couple of the characters from the voice actors from the game Metal Gear Solid when I was actually playing the voice of Solid Snake on a project. And they were like they were playing their characters, and I was like, I was a kid listening to you like playing this on PlayStation 1, and now I'm doing like the main character for this little project on the side, and I was like, this is like amazing. It's like one of those like surreal moments. And so I got to meet a lot of these people. One of the first voice acting people I ever met was Greg Berger, and he did the voice of Transformer, or he was in Transformers, the 1980s cartoon, and he was Grimlock, and I was like, that's like
Can you
my
hear me there?
favorite character.
Yeah, we got you back.
You're right there now.
Yeah, there we go. That's better.
Yeah. Now, Grimlock was honestly probably one of my favorite Transformers.
Yeah, and like when I was hanging out, I was like, you have to like get this, and I think Colin and any actor who runs into that you have to almost calm yourself down and be normal, because like you're like, oh my god, this is that character, and like I want to say something, but I don't want to be that dude. But also we're like on the same level, and like he's looking at me as a peer, so it was it's like that's the thing. And I think one of the biggest times I ever had that was actually in 2018 when I did a thing with Billy West, who did all the voices of like Futurama and Doug and Ren and Stimpy. He was Stimpy.
Cool.
Like all the voices of our childhood. I got to, I was like, oh my god, it's you. And I was like freaking out, but I didn't want to be like that dude who's just like, oh my god, you're the best. But and he's talking to me like peer level, and I'm just like, this is weird. Like it's like a surreal moment. It really makes you happy to be alive and be doing what you're doing.
Yep. I've had that a couple of times, and then when I went to Disney and was working for the mouse, one of the big things they train you on is desensitizing you to stars. So, like Celine Dion, Britney Spears, Alan Rickman, those kind of people come in, and you just have to treat them like a regular guest. You can't sit there and go, oh my god, I know who you are. Which is amusing because
I would be fired so fast.
Yeah. When they did a CBGB in Savannah, I was sitting at a bar and ended up working on the film. And then Alan Rickman comes in and we're sat at a bar drinking, complaining about Americans. It was one of the best times of my life.
Alan Rickman was one of my favorite actors, actually. Like he was one of my favorite, just all-time favorite actors.
Definitely.
I got to actually do a mobile game or something a little while ago where I actually had to parody Alan Rickman's voice, and I was like, well, this is really neat. Like I get to, they're like, we're thinking like Alan Rickman, but like we don't want to say that 100%. So I was like, this is awesome. But I got to feel like I was he was doing that. Excuse me?
He said that was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he had this like like I spent most of my time doing impressions. That's how you get started. Basically, it's like, you want to be an actor when you're looking at like the TV screen watching, and you're like mimicking what they're doing and trying to get in the mood of what scene they're in. Like I do, like I'm still like a nerd. So like I watch Star Trek and I watch Patrick Stewart like present this thing, and I'm still in front of the TV, like amazed to this day, like trying to do that, or like somebody like Ian McKellen or something like that. So, I'm always doing impressions, but when I got to do Alan Rickman, it was really fun challenging it, because he had this low way of speaking like this, and everything was very pronounced when he was talking. So, and you had to do this slow, and I was like, that's awesome, So
Great.
Oh dear. So Luck, welcome to the show.
Hi.
I know.
You're late.
Now, Luck, if you look up Lucky Mangione on IMDb, you see just a series of titles, and he actually got into the ranks of top 80 people to look out for in the Carolinas as an upcoming actor not too long ago.
Lucky.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
Really
Thank
cool.
you very much.
but the first
Yeah,
time I
you know,
met
I love it. You know.
Yeah. The first time I met Lucky, someone sent me a message going, I got a friend who's looking for someone that can play a Joker, and specifically Jack Nicholson's Joker. And when I take my glasses off and I smile, you know.
Oh, I
So-
see it.
Yeah. So I walked up and he's like, cool, let's go. And the director, we were doing one scene, I remember. Because Luck did an amazing Heath Ledger Joker. Absolutely phenomenal. And then he shaved all his hair. And now he looks like
I
Isaac.
did.
That was like
But-
a bald discount.
It was
kiosk.
like
Yeah.
it was like down to my shoulders, man. Like curly is just too
Yeah.
much. I had to clip it off.
And the director says, go. And we're doing a scene back and forth. And then we both look at the director at the same time. And he goes, cut? What just happened? And Luck looks at me and goes, he had a line. It's like, I did. And I missed it. And the director says, can you guys just do what you just did, but add the line in? Because that was awesome. So every now and again, you get a director.
It was such a fun scene too.
Oh, it was.
Because we were trained 3 different Jokers from 3 different timelines, which is kind of weird because this new 3 Jokers comic book that came out. I think it's already out about how Batman, is in the Morbius chair, and they tell him there's 3 different Jokers. It's not just one Joker, and we were doing that this is like five years ago probably now.
Yeah.
So we already had that idea of what if there was more than one Joker in the universe.
Are we talking?
What would it be like if?
Which 3 Jokers we're talking? Because I'm really wanting to see this. If you did Cesar Romero, just saying.
We did not do
Oh,
Caesar
no,
Romero.
he did Jack Nicholson. I did. I was doing the Heath Ledger one, and our friend Corey, who does a great Heath Ledger one as well. He was doing the New 52 Joker is what he was doing. So we didn't do a Cesar Romero,
With the
but
removable
he's probably
face.
one of my favorite Jokers of all time. He was amazing. I grew up watching that show, the Batman TV show, as a kid. And it was just he was like the original. He was like the OG.
Yeah, just if you grow
I'm
a
actually
mustache and
odd man
paint your face.
out. I'm actually like the sort of get odd man out when I say it. I loved The Dark Knight. I thought the acting was amazing. I thought Heath Ledger's performance was great. I just didn't think he played a good Joker. I thought he played a good Zaz, not Joker, because the 2 fundamentals of Joker are to laugh and to tell jokes, and he only did that 1 or 2 times. But I also had to come to the conclusion, okay, this is Nolan making sort of a realistic version of this, but also I'm you're missing very big fundamentals of the Joker, even though Heath Ledger's performance of basically parodying Tom Waits is amazing. That's it's an amazing performance. I'm just man, it would be cool to actually see a Zaz or something that would actually be terrifying, because it would be a real character that really could exist.
Yeah, and again, that's like you point out, that's a Nolan director's choice, and anyone that's been a huge comic book fan, I'm sure all of us are, the Joker's gone through so many iterations. You could play him any way at all. With Jack Nicholson, he was the organized mob boss gone crazy. Cesar Romero was the clown. You got Heath Ledger, who was very much the chaotic. And then there was the one we don't talk about. And, then there's Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
And don't forget to, he might have performed it in a film, but, Mark Hamill is the voice of the Joker. And I think he's it would be great to see that Joker come to life on the screen, and that someone could portray him. I've always thought William Dafoe would be a great Joker.
Right?
certainly has
why
the face
has
for
nobody said that? Like, why? I thought the same thing. He's scary with just his face. When he was in Spider-Man and he took off his mask, I'm like in the theater.
Yeah.
Can you put the mask back on? You're scarier, like without it.
Although,
Yeah,
I can never
I
see
think
William
he-
Dafoe as
you know-
scary after Boondock Saints.
Oh yeah, it's so funny because he the way he portrays a lot of his characters, he comes off really creepy, but he has this charm about him. And there's times where he can like be funny, but you don't know if he's being funny or if he's like being really scary towards the character that he's playing. So I think he would be like he's always been my choice to play the Joker, since forever. I think when they announced Heath Ledger playing the Joker, I was like, I couldn't really see it, but then I saw the performance, and I like what they did with it. But like you said earlier, he wasn't the Joker that we all like, the funny, the comedic part. He did a few things, but he was more that chaotic version. And I think that's what makes the Joker so great is that, I don't think the comic books ever wanted him to be one type of person. That's why they never really created a true backstory for him. He just came out of nowhere, and he's just been there. He's kind of like, maybe he's the alternate version of what Batman is and what Batman stands for, but both of those characters have gone through so many changes over the years. So,
I thought Willem Dafoe would be a great Joker because he also played Jesus, and it was hilarious. If you ever saw that, The Last Temptation of Christ or whatever, that was awesome. I was like, this guy can play any role, and I will accept it.
But that's one thing I love about transitioning from acting to directing. And I think that's a huge important part for anyone that's going to be a director, is you have to understand how the actors think, how an actor behaves, so you can bring out the best character possible. Like, all four of us could play the same character in completely different ways.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and
I think,
that's a really cool thing that you mentioned, because when I was doing that Coffee with a Madman that's on Amazon, I had to play basically essentially a madman killer that was based off an Alfred Hitchcock theory of filmmaking. And, so I tried my best to be intimidating. And actually, when we did cut, one of the extras came up to me and we're just like, that, you're creepy as fuck on camera. Sorry. You're just really creepy. Like you're just scaring the crap. Cause I did I don't know what it's technically called in the acting world. I think maybe Colin could maybe tell me, but I just eye effect where you just like stare like blankly, like
1,000-yard stare.
Well, it's sort of 1,000-yard stare version of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what that's actually called. I just figured, that might be the best choice. Talked to the director, and they were like, one of really cool. You actually have to get into a pretty dark mind frame, I think.
Yeah.
I think the one great thing about playing different characters, and depending on what kind of acting you like to do, there's people who like the method acting, things like that. But I think the best part is you get to bring a lot of truth to a character that you bring to life, and you get to kind of part of yourself is in those characters as well. And I think that's what really brings it to life when you bring a little bit of yourself to every character that you play, which makes it even better. You were saying that you played that character like a madman, and people are like, holy crap, like it really scared them. And you're playing a character, but you're still bringing a part of yourself to that character, and that's where the truthfulness of any actor comes out, and that's what makes it real. Is when they're not acting; they're just kind of bringing some of themselves out to a character they've created in their own minds.
Yeah, I know one of the when I used to do acting classes, one of the things I used to tell people is let's go around the circle actually and see what's your definition of an actor, Isaac?
I have no idea.
Okay, Colin?
I don't know how to actually like define it in like a proper, I guess, explanatory sentence. But I just it's I always go with like it's the grandest lie. You get to pretend to be somebody else. You get to act like someone else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I may
Yeah.
suck at that answer, but yeah.
Hey, that's okay. Colin?
I think that's great. I was gonna say it's a fusion of art and lying. That's what I was gonna say. So I think Isaac nailed it. But it's really a type of art that a lot of people don't understand unless they're really in the process of it all. Like I feel very comfortable with you guys because we're all telling our stories and our own perspectives, and I'm like, I can see where they're coming from because we all have to kind of exit our minds and become someone else. So I think it's an art form of lying, but it's also like a big psychological lie to yourself and to the audience. If that makes any sense. That's my perspective.
Look,
I understand it 100%.
all right, Lucky, what's your definition?
I'm gonna agree with both Isaac and Colin exactly what they were saying, but I always like to put in these words. It's someone that gets to play make believe, because that's essentially what you're doing. You're playing make believe to be something. You're creating these stories in your own head of what that person is. Because, like you said earlier, my idea of a character might be different from yours or Isaac or Colin's, but I think we all bring something new to that character, and at the same time, we all have the same idea of what the character is supposed to be. In that sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. Well, the definition I always tell students when I'm teaching acting classes is the ability to act is the ability to lie convincingly.
Hey, you did it. We all get A's.
So all of us have exactly the same answer.
Let's
Well,
graduate.
that's the thing is like I always based acting when I first figured out that I wanted to act and like do something on screen or play a character. I always thought to myself, this is one of the oldest things in the civilization, like, or of the species of humanity, because when we tell stories by, like, when we were cavemen saying, like, by a campfire and we impersonated something happening, you're acting out that other thing so you can express to the other person, this is what that thing is, so like it's like one of the oldest things. It's being very human actually is acting to me.
Yeah.
Now,
I think it's an everyday. I think it's an everyday thing. I think everybody on this planet acts in some shape or form. Even in your job. I'm in a restaurant job as a server. You have to act towards your guests. You have to sell them stuff. You have to be personable with them. I think you act. When you meet a girl or a girl meets a guy, they put on this image. They want to portray to make them look really pretty or really handsome. So I think everybody acts every day, and not to be funny, but like you said earlier, acting is the greatest form of lying you can think of. And people lie a lot nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely.
I love it. I'm passionate about it.
Now, we'll go around again. Who's your favorite actor and why? For me, it's got to be Anthony Hopkins, because no matter what role he's in, you don't see Anthony Hopkins. You see Hannibal Lecter, you see the Madman in Transformers, you see the Wolfman. You don't see Anthony Hopkins. You just see the character. To me, that's why he's one of my favorites, because the actor himself disappears into the role. And not because of method acting. He's just that good of an actor.
I hate that question because I can never come up with just one.
Well, let's go.
Same here. Same here.
Okay.
Well, that's why I think I don't have one specific favorite actor. I mean, I probably like more over the other ones because you take so many different things from so many different actors. But if I had to say one right now, just as my personal like inspiration to act and to be, convincing, is I would have to say Patrick Stewart, because I grew up with Star Trek: The Next Generation. He played Professor Xavier. I mean, he played in a lot of stuff. And every time I see him, I know it's him because he has a very unique look, but I also believe that he is Captain Picard. He is Dr., or Professor Xavier. I believe this like 100% because he's a really good Shakespearean actor.
Yeah, and Ian McKellen actually told him not to take the role of Picard. He recently apologized for that.
I know, that's great. I actually rewatched X-Men, and I love Ian McKellen so much. I actually had to do an impersonation of his voice for a game. So
Excellent.
So I just love the way he's so intense, like as Gandalf, as Magneto, as a plethora of other characters.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot.
Yeah. Colin.
Well, mine's not very profound, but again, the question wasn't who's the best actor, who the best actor is. But my favorite actor that I'll see any movie for is Will Smith. I just love Will Smith. I love who he is off the camera, on the camera. Like, I'm not saying he's the best actor ever. I'm just saying that he's my favorite, and I will blindly go and see whatever movie he's in because I just really like him as a person. I like his vibe. I think he's a good actor too, but I'm not.
A lot of people gave him hell
best.
for After Earth. I actually enjoyed his performance in that one.
Actually, I think
Oh,
a
he
lot
was
more
good. He was
people gave him
tough.
hell for the genie.
The only thing I
him
didn't
as
like
a
about
genie, too. I'm just a Will
the only
Smith
thing I didn't
fanboy.
like about the genie was the rap.
Oh,
Apart from that, everything was great.
Well, I mean,
I
also
like that
a lot
too.
of people say that, but I'm like, first of all, you're trying. I don't know. I don't care who it is. You're trying to do a part that Robin Williams did. You just, it's almost impossible to try to do that. So I think Will Smith was actually, and the director Guy Ritchie of Aladdin was actually trying to make their own version of the genie, which I can appreciate.
We can applaud them for that, yeah. All right, Luck, same question.
All right, this is a really tough question. And like I said, I hate these kind of questions. If I had to choose just one, because I have three, but I love Gary Oldman. I think he's one of the best actors ever. I think every character he plays is different. He brings something different to the thing. When they do his makeup, he looks different. He looks different to me every time he's in a film, and he portrays that character. It's never the same character. A lot of actors kind of portray the same type of characters all the time. I think Gary Oldman portrays something different every single time. I love Robert De Niro as well. I love De Niro, but he kind of plays the same type of roles in all the films he does. Oldman, my favorite. If I had to choose one more, I'd have to say he's a very good friend of mine. Would be Doug Jones, because he's not really speaking
Doug Jones is awesome.
when he's acting. He's doing all these different creases and stuff, and so it's a different form of acting, which I think is beautiful. That he can tell a story with the way he moves and the way he does his hands and his facial movements, which I think is amazing. And that's an incredible thing to do as an actor without having to have any words at all.
Actually, that's a good one, Gary Oldman. I
Yeah.
always really liked Gary Oldman.
And we actually have a comment from someone watching the show right now. As once upon a time, I would have said Jim Carrey, but it's hard to choose. Like Isaac said, Robin Williams and definitely Anthony Hopkins are deep actors for me, I guess. Thank you for that, Jasper. That's a good comment. I like that one. But yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to that. If you can tell the actor versus the character, it's not really acting. And bringing up Gary Oldman, the first time I saw Gary Oldman was in Dracula.
Oh yeah, Bram Stoker's.
Yeah.
With the
first
Keanu.
time I saw him
Yeah.
was in Leon, The Professional, and I'll never forget it because I'm watching the film, and I'm at my house, and my father's inside, and I'm watching the scene where he gets the entire family killed. It was Natalie Portman's first film, and it upset me so much as a kid that I started writing a letter to him. And my dad goes, "What are you doing over there?" And I go, "This freaking guy killed his whole family." And my dad goes, "He's an actor. It's not real, son." And I was writing this really hateful letter to him because it affected me so much for some reason that this guy was this evil entity. But he's just an actor. But it was then that I knew this is what I want to do. I want to portray roles that can be infectious to people, that can move people, that whether they're happy or angry or makes them sad. Because to me, I think as an actor, you know, and you're in a film, if you can make someone's day great, you know, by your portrayal of a character, because they had, you know, everybody has a bad day. Some people get already sad sometimes, and going to a movie sometimes, you know, makes me happy. It makes me like forget about all my worries that these actors on screen, you know, that's what their job is. Their job is to, you know, make you feel some sort of way, move you in some sort of way. And if I can do that as an actor, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to move people to make them smile or make them, you know, feel like their life isn't so bad. You know, make them, I guess, lose a little bit of their self into that film, into those characters. You know, touch them in some kind of way. So, and
Actually,
Gary Oldman,
it's funny it's funny you mentioned that. Going off of what you said a little bit, taking people away from their day. When people ask people about acting and like who's your favorite actor, we automatically go to these grand movies like, you know, like The Godfather with Al Pacino, or a big Robin Williams film, or something with, like, you know, like we were saying, Will Smith, Patrick. But I don't think the acting credit really gets like its due when it comes to like some of like my favorite sitcoms, which are like two of my favorite sitcoms of all time are like Cheers and Frasier. And they're just a sitcom. And so Ted Danson, who plays Sam Malone, is so convincing as that character. You forget his name is Ted Danson. Or Kelsey Grammer playing Frasier, you forget that that's Kelsey Grammer. You automatically think his name is Frasier. And just like that, one of my other favorite shows is The Office, because Steve Carell was genius in that show. It was so flabbergasting to see how good he was.
But yeah, Jasper put another comment. Isn't that what actors are supposed to do? Just dive in and make people forget about the bad in the world. You know, it's also, they enjoy what they're doing. So yeah, that's pretty much part of the deal of why we all got into acting, I'm sure. Is we want to
there's a lot of people out there that get into acting for the wrong reasons, I think. You know, you'll hear people go, I want to be an actor because I want to be famous, you know, I want to be rich. And you know, if you think of it that way, if you're getting into the business because you want to make money, then you're in the wrong business. You know, to me, you know, the money will come along. But I've always done it because I love it. I'm passionate about it. You know, I want to, like I said, I want to move people. I want people to forget about their day and enjoy themselves. You know, a movie that comes to mind, and I'm sure all of you have seen it, you've had to seen it, was the movie Forrest Gump. And I saw that, you know, when I was younger. And I saw that movie a record, I'm not lying to you. I went to the theater 17 times to watch that movie because I loved it so freaking much.
Wow.
And I loved it because I could see when this character that he played, I felt like every part of his life, watching that movie, I thought I could relate something. I could relate something to his life. And I think everybody could in some sort of way. And he's just a very simple man, but I think everybody could take something from that film. And that's why I loved it so much. And I thought the portrayal was incredible. I thought the movie was fantastic. So.
Yeah. And that's one thing I like, you know, the entire group that we've got here, you know, with Isaac, with Colin, with Lucky. When I watch your stuff that you've produced, it's clear to see where you're trying to take the audience and where the characters are leading. And to me, that's a huge thing as an actor, is if the audience can pick up on the character's journey and they can get emotionally invested in your character's journey, you're doing a good job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I really agree with that.
Yeah. Colin, you've been awfully quiet for the last minute or so.
Oh, I'm just enjoying the conversation. I'm ready to. If you have any questions? I'm ready to chime in. It's just,
like, stop monopolizing the conversation there, Colin.
Well, I just worry about the lag and everything. I don't want to talk over anyone, so I'm just waiting. Right now.
Oh,
sorry, this is exactly what I was talking about. That's why I'm staying quiet. I don't want to overlap everyone. Sorry, what was the question?
So where are you from and where is Isaac from?
I'm from San Diego, California.
Yes, I did Comic-Con a few years ago.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I'm sorry. The lag a little bit is confusing.
Yeah, I think the same question for you, Isaac.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
look,
much.
you're breaking up and down. Look.
Yeah, it's like choppy. But no, I actually live in the Jacksonville, Florida area. So I get to film in Georgia and down here in Florida. So I'm really happy about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. Going back to the Georgia thing, you know, when I was living in Georgia, I was doing a lot of gigs in Atlanta. I did several gigs with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know, like stand-ins, which, yeah, it's not acting per se, you know, like it's not screen time, but when you're dressed as one of the Marvel characters while they're doing the whole setup and you run through the scene as the character, so the camera's following you, the lights are following you, and then once they've got everything set, they say, all right, you jump out, and, you know, like Captain America jumps in, you're like, hey, yeah, I can
That
say I've
actually is
worked.
pretty cool. I've heard that one of the guys that work with us in our production company used to live in Atlanta,
Yeah,
and he did extra work like that for Guardians, for Deadpool, stuff like that. So
yeah,
he was
it
like,
was,
it was good, but he's like, I wanted to help with
Yeah.
us. He wanted to make the films, like he wanted to help make them, not just be a stand-in.
Yeah, for me that was Civil War in the airport, and then Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I actually got cast in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but my mum had a complete knee replacement the weekend I was supposed to film, so I had to fly into England and look after her during filming it. So when the film came out, I was a little tear rolling down going, I was going to be in that scene. I had the lines and everything.
That's
a bummer.
sucks. And actually going on what you said earlier, I didn't get the chance because I didn't want to go over anybody, but you were saying like when you know the development of the character and stuff like that. I think that independent filmmakers, like people who are doing all what we're doing, making our own production companies, producing our own stuff, I think when you help develop the character and when you help create this personality and you're supposed to play it, you get like more invested than when somebody just hands you a script. I hate saying that because like I'm an actor, I'm supposed to get invested, and I do, don't get me wrong, but like when I help make some of the characters that we create, it's like, you know, you're taking an actual piece of you out of it, like creating the piece instead of just taking like out like as an actor. So you're like, this is a personality, a piece of me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like for instance, we have a superhero series we're going to be doing, and one of the superhero characters I've helped develop for years, he's just now sort of part of my personality, if that makes any sense. Like you get this, he's almost like that character's in your head, like, you know, because I have to do everything. Like I have to go through a whole transformation to play this character. You know, I have to shave the face, I have to put on the cowl, I have to put on this big muscle suit, you know, and it's, you know, it's a comedy, mind you, but the character is like this really lovable, you know, character. And you know, we actually had like some executive producers from Adult Swim like, hey, make a pilot out of this because it's freaking hilarious. Like we really want to see this character. And it's just one of those, you know, once you put on the suit or, you know, whatever costume you're wearing as an actor, you automatically become that person, like 100%. You're just like, I'm this person now. Don't talk to me as like who I was born as. Talk to me as this character now. Yeah, you know, like, I think cosplayers are potential for a lot of good actors. I've seen cosplayers I can mention, and they only like respond to their character's name. They're in their total mind frame. They react. You know, it was really cool.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love is, you know, you talk about superheroes. We've got a show that we're in development of, and it's Misfit Superheroes. And one of them, it's a duo partnership that's not really supposed to work, but it does. One of them is like a teenage boy who, when he looks at boobs, just hulks out and goes, you know, just starts smashing things. And the girl who, her only power is her boobs grow bigger. So whenever they're all in trouble and they need saving, they all turn to her and they're like, do it. And she's like, I don't want to. It's degrading. Just do it. Yeah. And then this guy just kind of perks up, looks over at her, and he's getting fussed at by another one of the superheroes as this girl's boobs inflate and he just hulks out.
That's really funny.
Oh my
like,
god. This is a new power.
You
Yeah.
have you have to like, you know, get into these characters and knows, like, for instance, when I was creating the character that I'm playing in this superhero series, we wanted to go with like one of my favorite actors of all time is actually Phil Hartman. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He died in the 90s, but he was on SNL. He was on Jingle All the Way as the dickhead neighbor, the
Oh, I know
small
who you're
soldier.
talking
Yeah, yeah.
But he was also in The Simpsons as Troy McClure. You know, like, hi, I'm Troy McClure.
The news, yeah.
And I wanted to go off him, and then when we were designing the character, we actually, you know, were studying more about these characters with deep voices, and then one of my other favorite characters, actors, because of voice, came up, which is Patrick Warburton, and he had this deep, you know, booming, amazing voice, and I was like, I want to do that, and so I parodied it, like I tried to perfect it enough to where I could sound almost just like that. And that's actually, you know, why I was doing, you know, I've got voice work doing that now. So, like, you know, because as soon as you know who, like, hear Patrick Warburton, you know this guy's voice, right? You like, he's Kronk in Emperor's New Groove. He's Joe in Family Guy.
For me, he'll always be the Tick.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so like he has this big booming voice like this. It's you know, it's kind of like otherworldly. You know, it's almost like, you know, when you hear it, you exactly know what character is coming to mind. You know, so, and that's when I was like, I want to do that voice for the character. So and that's, I start talking like that. Like, I just start doing these stupid superhero monologues just off the top of my head, you know, and it's 100% that character I've been trying to develop.
Who's your favorite character to imitate, voice wise?
To voice?
Yeah.
Well, I've done a lot of really smattering of a lot of different voices. Like, I've done something from Patrick Warburton to like Mickey Mouse to Ian McKellen to Alan Rickman, like I said. And I think that I think the Patrick Warburton voices, because it always makes everybody smile. I like it when people smile, like when they're doing a voice. Like, if I, you know, like I know they'll smile if they're like a fan of like X-Men or Ian McKellen, and I just go up to them, like, and I'll just like, I'm just goofy like that. You know, you have to keep the characters in your head, so you have to keep practicing the voices. So I just like went up to one of my friends and it's like, I just pretended to be Magneto for no reason. I was just like, how long do you think this prison can keep me in here, Charles? You know, like, and like the people are like, what are you doing? But they're laughing their ass off at it. And I'm like, that's, you know, like, and I just
That
say
was great.
but like, yeah, and it makes them laugh, like when you do Mickey Mouse, like when you're like the high pitch, like, hi kids, it's Mickey Mouse, huh? You know, kind of stuff. And I do that more often than I really should.
One of my favorites was always Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, that's a pretty easy one to do. You just
I
have
know,
to,
but it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Especially when
like,
you run up to people and start laughing like Stitch right behind them.
oh yeah, I actually went to Disney World and I did Mickey Mouse behind kids, and they were like, what was that? You know, like, so it's really just fun, just messing with people, making them smile.
Excellent. Well, guys, we're about to wrap up, so let's do another round robin and just let everyone know what you've got going on, kind of post-COVID, what's coming up, what to look out for, that kind of thing. I know we've got a new episode coming up with Colin that he's going to tell you about. Isaac's got a bunch of stuff he's working on. And look, I believe you just released a short from something you did a few years ago. So, Isaac, take it away.
I've got a few things in the work right now, and one that I just released as well.
Okay. So let's go round on my view. So I'm going to my right, Isaac.
All right. Well, I have a film we're working on. Actually, we're working on it this month, and we plan to get it out pretty shortly. It's just a short film. It's going, I think, on Amazon Prime Video. It's called Demons in the Days of COVID. And basically, the log line is this guy gets really bored during quarantine in the old-fashioned way. You know, putting stuff in like a bucket and like casting a spell, and demon comes out. And we also have we're experimenting on vertical filming because we got a bunch of the iPhone 11 Pros, and we're trying to do a little bit of that on social networks like Instagram and stuff like that, because we're curious about how what we can do with that. So that's pretty much, and a bunch of other stuff, but that's later.
Okay, fantastic. So check it out. Check out Isaac on Instagram because he uses Instagram more than anything else. So just type in his name. Colin, what have you got going on?
We've got Power Rangers Shattered Past. It's basically time travel meets Power Rangers. Lots of real Rangers involved, and it's really fun. It's one of our bigger hits. And then Arrow Unlimited. It's a DC world, but gender bent. So Green Arrow is a girl, and we switch all the different genders and go from there. And then we have some quick shorts coming out with Nerdbots, like a found footage type thing. And then we are going to eventually finish Reverse Flash Origins once things are back to normal. And we have some shorts that have been in the works for a while, but we kind of don't want to announce them until they're officially done this time around. But for right now, Power Rangers Shattered Past, Arrow Unlimited, and then some really fun shorts on Nerdbot.
And again, you can check out Colin on Instagram, Facebook, and Nerdbot on YouTube and see all of their stuff. It's fantastic. The Reverse Flash Origin series is where I got hooked on Colin's work. Luck, what have you got going on?
We just released a film called A Simple Job. It was over a 4-year period that we filmed this film, and it just got released. It's on my Facebook page now, called A Simple Job. I did a film 2 weekends ago, a film called Target. Very suspenseful series. Is basically about two adopted brothers that suffer severe abuse from their mother, and I'm the one who suffers the most of it. So it's a very, kind of a, very adult type film, but it touches on a lot of really things that happen to kids every day that go through this kind of stuff. And then I just got casted for a Weapon X fan film. I'll be playing Weapon X
Nice.
for it. And
Very cool.
I've been doing this for a while, and I just got signed with an agency 2 weeks ago, and I'm being submitted to the Marvel casting director for maybe a chance to audition for the actual role for Wolverine.
Wow.
Excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you to my guests, Isaac, Colin, Luck. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to check out Devil May Care Productions.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm going to follow both of you on Instagram.
All right. You guys have a great night. Thank you for tuning in, guys.
Bye, you guys.